Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Becoming CEO AF podcast. I'm your host, Kemba Garcia.
And I am your co-host, Amanda Bell.
Today, we have such a special human in my life here with us today. Super excited to have him. So I've actually been on Mike's podcast twice, the Big Stud podcast. Everybody in the world knows him as Mike Claudio. To me, he will forever be Magic Mike. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much. Excited to be here. Finally get to, repay the favor of being a guest on your podcast.
Well, I feel like it's a favor that you're here, to be honest with you. I know that you are booked solid tight. So anytime I get penciled in on your calendar, I really, truly, I know I joke with you about your calendar all the time, but I truly am grateful for the minutes that I get on it. So I do appreciate you being here, Mike. So super excited to have you here with us today, Mike.
I'm excited. It's been something I've been looking forward to. And having you back on mine a second time was cool to just talk about the journey on how far we've come. Yes, neither one of us could have pictured where we are now 3 years ago. And we thought we were busy then, which is the funny part.
Yeah.
Now we're at a whole nother level. So I'm excited about having some time to get to hang out with you guys.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And it always is with you. And that last podcast that we did together has been one of my favorite podcasts that I've done in a while, because it truly was just a very organic reflection, right? Of how far we've come, of how our friendship developed, of why we're even sitting here today, and how much we truly influence each other's journey along the way. And so that's why I'm super excited to have you here. You've been such an influential part of my journey. I think that's been reciprocated both ways in our friendship, which is why we've developed this little soul vibe, if you will. And that's what we were even talking before we jumped on here live, that when are we going to get to hang out? We don't know. It doesn't matter. We'll circle back to it. It'll be like nothing ever changed. We just truly developed that connection, and I'm super grateful for that. Honestly, guys, I recommend that y'all slide on over to the Big Stud podcast as your next podcast after this one and listen to that episode, because it's truly a super fun one. But Mike, what do you got today? Currently in today's world, right? What is, with all the moving pieces that you have, man, which you are just going all the ways, what would you say is the thing that's making you feel the most passionate about right now in terms of the different projects that you have going on in your life?
I mean, the biggest, more fulfilling kind of proud dad moment thing right now is watching the coaches on my team evolve and get more confident. For me to scale a one-on-one coaching company, you have to have people that believe in themselves enough to get on a call, control the authority, have influence, and be able to articulate their information and their knowledge in an absorbable way, right? That's what I'm trying to accomplish, growing this mission and growing this thing. And so, we had our first conference big last week, and I seen someone speak from stage for the first time, seeing them trying to get the fulfillment from impacting and changing people's lives. I know you guys know that feeling, right? You have that light bulb moment for one of your clients, and you're like, I know for a fact that person will never be the same because I got over myself and was able to get on this call and deliver them information that changed their life. That's a rare thing to actually see. And so I get to watch it from the client perspective, because I still have clients, but watching the coaches that we brought onto the team, because we promote from within, we promote customer to coach, right?
Yep.
And so seeing them from broken, distraught, miserable, shut the business down to thriving businesses and having time to then now take on this authority role, and watching them, just the joy and excitement that they have and the giddiness for that first time that they see they change somebody's life. That's got me amped up right now.
I think we can relate to that so hard, can't we, sister?
So hard.
We do the same thing, Mike. We promote clients to coaches, the one that really implement the curriculum and crush it and get in there. And then to develop out our lead, because it's almost cool as a coach to then coach the leaders, because then you develop out what is your coaching, what does that training look like for the coaches? How'd they do, man? How'd the event go? I'm sure just seeing them up on stage, were they nervous? Did they crush it? What did that look like?
So pretty much all of them were really nervous going in. What I saw happen was the team come together in that borrowed confidence, right? If you've ever been on a good team or a sports team when you're well, everybody else believes in me a whole lot, so I might as well believe in me too, right? And I think there was this borrowed confidence from just the team as a whole, where everybody believed in the other person kind of more than themselves. And then around the school so well that everybody got enough of it So like most people were nervous getting on stage because there was about 70, 75 people there, which is a big audience
Great
for someone who's never been on
turnout.
stage before. Like I did the stage right. Like we had the stage, we had the TVs, we had banners, we had all this stuff, right? So it was a production.
Yeah.
And
I
so for
saw
me, it
looked
was just
great.
like another day, right? But
Yeah.
for them, it was this kind of like coming out season of like, I can do this. And the minute they started talking, like when I know you know what I mean, the minute you kind of like threw that, I actually know what I'm talking about. And then it's just like, "Bleh," and it just comes out. And you're just like, and like, you walk off stage, you're like, I have no idea what I just said. I have no idea what happened. I kind of blacked out for a little bit, but I'm still here and I did it. And so if you look at the team picture I posted from last week, if you just go through that picture, every single person in that photo just has a perspective and look of pride on their face. From what they were able to do individually to what we were able to accomplish as a team overall with our first conference that we've ever thrown, it was just an incredible. It was like bonding through just pure fear and anxiety, and everybody
much
overcoming that kind of uniformly across the team and seeing that success happen was we crushed it. I mean, there's absolutely crushed it.
I'm truthfully not surprised. And Amanda, we're going to borrow that term because there's sometimes I may need to borrow some confidence from you, sister.
Borrowed confidence.
Borrowed confidence. I absolutely love that. And really, with our coaches, it's so funny because they'll say, oh, I don't really know if I'm a good public speaker. And I'm like, man, just get up there and send it from your heart, right? Like just truly send it from your heart. And that's the blackout that you're talking about. It's like, well, truthfully, I just let God just kind of speak through me for the talents that I have. I just got up there and I was a vessel for that. And so I don't really remember what I said, but I probably crushed it because you can't always feel when you walk off stage like, oh, I just did a really good job. I'm not really sure what I said, but I did a really good job saying it. It felt good. Yeah, the energy in the room feels really great as I walk off the stage.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you guys. And you did do that stage right. I think I might have sent a picture to Amanda talking about, as we're jumping more into events, because that's something that we're jumping more into this year. So I love the way that you set that up. Congratulations, Mike.
I think it's great.
Thank you. Yeah, I would highly suggest, having a stage. It really helps create some just perspective of authority that allows the audience to feel more interested in the information. Because we had about 80% of the attendees were not clients. And that was a surprising statistic. So they didn't really know a lot of them just didn't know what to expect. So having that stage, it allows even the people who have never been on stage before still to carry some authority. So the information that they share is received more effectively than, well, who is this guy just on the same level of the floor I'm at? And like, I can't really see him around the person in front of me. And so having even a small stage makes a huge difference.
Well, I love that.
I do too.
Mike, write that down. I want to loop back to something else that you said at the beginning of this, because you were talking about impact.
She's so funny.
I know. You missed me. So we were talking
I
about,
love it.
but you brought up impact, and I just know that that's such a core value of yours, right? It's just impact. You're always about how can I impact? How can I influence? How can I leave this room changed from when I walked in it, right? And I saw you do something very early on, and this is something else that I'm kind of dabbling in right now. So I was excited because I don't get a ton of time on Mike's calendar. I'm about to take what I can get for what I want to learn, and anybody listening can experience this with me, okay? So diving into a 501c. One of the things that I've always admired about you is you not only did you jump in full force into a for-profit company, WinRate Consulting, you also dove straight headfirst into launching a 501c, a nonprofit company, and you didn't do that small. I mean, you jumped in and instantly your 501c is nationwide. You are impacting thousands of kids around the country. And I'll let you share a little bit about it, but I just want to kind of toot the horn for a second on this 501c because your entire brand is really built around, for my lack of better terms, because I'm not into it, but like sports, right? Like it's all about winning.
Yeah.
It's all about winning.
Yeah.
And you have, it's all about being the champion, and that's your theme. And you follow that over into your 501c with champion shoes. And so for anybody that's not familiar with this 501c, what they do is they supply shoes for kids that wouldn't otherwise be able to afford the footwear that they need for the sports that they play. So, and that just gives me chills to even say, because Robbie actually used to play football in his Nikes, sliding around the field because his family couldn't afford cleats. He had to go mow grass and make his own money to be able to afford his own cleats. So when I look at the impact that you're making with the kids across the country, it's not just the footwear that they have on their feet, it's the experience that they get from being on that team. What you were just talking about that borrowed confidence, right, that comes from being on a really great team. And without this 501c in place, a lot of these kids just wouldn't be able to get the experience because they wouldn't have what's required to actually go out on the field and be part of the team. So if you'll talk a little bit about that, Mike, I'm super interested as we dive into our own next steps of impact, right? And formulating out a nonprofit company, like what your advice would be for me, knowing me so well, jumping into a 501c, knowing I also probably don't want to do it super small, right?
So it definitely, like you said, we started this thing, we created this concept, we had the idea. It was this small, desirable outcome initially when we first launched it. And then it just like took wave, right? Just because of the audience I had, the people I was around, the people that want to play a role in what we were doing. It kind of just like, it became a movement because of the effort to start, but like audience made it something special. And so, you know, what I would tell you right now is don't start one. Like, and I mean that from a really good place. Like, it is very time consuming and it's very cumbersome from a legality and compliance perspective to operate a nonprofit. You know, it's a lot more than just like moving money around. There's a lot of reporting, there's a lot of board meetings, a lot of documentation, a lot of things that go into executing a nonprofit to maintain your nonprofit status estate and with the IRS. And so for most people, maybe specifically, but most people, I would say, go find an organization you can get behind and give them what you want to give: time, money, effort, relationships, things, whatever. Like, go find somebody who's already has the systems and processes in place and give them, you can picture giving your own nonprofit, because there's so much you don't know about running a nonprofit. Yeah. Right. So if you're like, oh, I'm going to impact kids, or I'm going to donate money, or I want to put my money to use, like, go find somebody who has the systems and processes in place already and the head count in place already. Mm-hmm. So just go deliver that value that you are envisioning as your give back to a nonprofit. Yeah. That being said, you know, there's a lot of people out there who want to support something they believe in and trust. Right. So for Kimba to build something, your audience will trust that you're going to use the money intelligently, smartly, with integrity, maximizing the impact. And so a lot of people just supported me because they're like, I want to give money, but I don't trust these bigger organizations who give such a small percentage to the actual mission. Yeah, you know, right. Tiff and I, we don't take money from the business, right? Like the nonprofit. We don't. Like, I probably put 100 hours a year into that business, Kimba, for nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot when I'm already, you know, I don't have extra time as it is, right? And so, am I grateful that I did it? Yes. Have I learned a lot? Yes. Would I do it again? Honestly, probably not. Like, yeah. I would go find an organization that's doing something close and like put the same amount of money and effort into it and allow them to do behind the scenes, the management, the leadership, the hiring, the firing, the SOP documentation. But then the frustration steps in, right? Like, no one's going to run a business as good as Kimba wants to see it run, right? So then you have to just be willing to say, I'm going to make this sacrifice now and accept a little bit less than I want. Maybe I'll just coach them for free if they want it, as opposed to like building it and hiring people and filling out the documents and doing the board meetings and getting everything together. And like, there's just so much time that goes into executing a nonprofit that has nothing to do with the impact you want to make. And that's the part I know going into. I just thought, I'm going to build a business, because the way a nonprofit is created, you just build a business and then submit some forms to get marked as a nonprofit. It's just a business. Yeah. So I was like, build the business, get the bank accounts, do the thing, get the people, get the thing, send some shoes, cool. But that's like the tip of the iceberg when it comes to effort that goes into running a nonprofit. But overall, we've impacted over 5,000 kids in the last 2 years, which wouldn't have happened otherwise. And that's worth it.
It's all, yeah,
Totally.
it's 1,000% worth it. And I just love how transparent you just were about that, which I knew that you would be, which is why I asked the question. And I'm like, well, he will shoot me straight. And I love that. So when building out the 501c, because those are the things that I really wanted, those are the things that I was hoping that you would say, right? Is that it's not always just as easy as just doing the things. Like, to have a nonprofit that doesn't have to pay taxes, like, there are the things that come along with it, right? And a lot of people are familiar with that at an LLC level. Very few people, well, I say very few people, but let's say less people that do that at an LLC level understand that at an S Corp level. And then when you mosey on over to being a 501c, obviously those board meetings and the documents that you have to fill out change. And that's the piece that I didn't know what that looks like. But I was like, Mike definitely does know what that looks like. Now, my vision, and the other thing that I just wanted to chat about real quick, is there's two different types too, right? You have like a charity and then a foundation. And yours as a charity, you guys are out there doing the work. I mean, you're buying the shoes. I see Tiffany buying the shoes. She is at Academy. She is buying the shoes. Yeah. The kids are out in the warehouse wrapping the boxes. You guys are handwriting, sending out cards. Like, you guys are a full-blown charity that you're on the ground doing the work. A foundation is a type, from my understanding, is the type of 501c that supports charities, right? So just some things for people to think about. The way that my heart sees mine going, and however we structure it, but it is to do what you said, to get behind great people that I know are putting the money in a really great place and that are spreading what we're going to call agape, like God's love, just out there being God's volunteers on this planet, and just getting behind their mission by being able to offer financial aid and or time and volunteers. Like, how great is it if we could send in somebody to help wrap the shoes, right? It's like, just to get some of that off of that team's back. And that's really what we're looking to do, is just to be able to support great people like you that are out doing the things, because I know that it is hours and hours. Honestly, you know, coaching is too. I'm sure you do too. I coach a lot more than I invoice for. You know what I'm saying? It's truly become a give back project for me. And I know that you put so much time, not just you, but your entire family, your wife, your children, the weekends, into this organization. And I think that it's really important that we do talk about the behind the scenes of that, as an entrepreneur, as a father, as a husband, cutting in time for that when you could just go support somebody else with what you have to give and not overextend. You know, if people listen and need to be mindful of that, I think that's such an important perspective. So I can literally appreciate the shit out of that, man. Thank you.
And so one thing I would suggest for anybody thinking about getting involved or starting one is, something I wanted was the social proof side of it. Like, the proof of the impact, right? Because you send a check, it doesn't feel like anything, right? It's just another invoice you sent, right?
Yeah.
So we put pre-posted like cards every box. Kids can practice gratitude and send back a thank you. I have thousands of these thank you cards that are handwritten from kids back to us about like what the shoes meant to them. And like, that shit tears me up sometimes. You get some that like, hey, without this, I couldn't have done this. Or, I loved my first day of school because I was able to wear my new shoes. And like, I have thousands of these pre-posted thank you cards, allowing kids to practice gratitude. You can kind of see some on the wall back here. These are some of my favorite ones that I put on the wall so I can read them every day. It's like part of my vision board strategy is just like, look at the fucking impact we're making.
Yeah.
Like, it may not seem like a lot because it's annoying and it's frustrating, but like, so we also put a handwritten card in every box that says, we believe you are capable, go be a champion. I can get one kid to put that in his bathroom mirror and read every day and change the future of his life, family. It's worth all the hours. And I have to remind myself of that regularly, because there's many a Sundays I'm like, the fuck, I want to go to Academy and pick up 300 pairs of shoes and have to wrap this shit and get it organized and get it shipped out. And it's like, but then you read this, why? That's why it's worth. That's why God placed that on me. That's why I have willingness to put in extra effort that most people won't because of this. And so, like, I'm like everybody else. There's days I don't want to do my fucking job. I mean, like, I just don't want to coach today. I'm broken, sad, tired, emotional. I don't want to have to be your support bunny. I want to fucking go crawl in a hole. But then you look at the impact and the lives that you change when you can just get over yourself and do the work anyway.
Yeah.
And
I bet,
it's the constant reminder as to like why we do this.
I
And
bet
so
those
the
little
social
cards,
proof is a big part. If you're going to be a part of any nonprofit, I would highly suggest the social proof side of it.
I bet those little cards and those kids' mirrors are more impactful than the shoes themselves are, though. You're absolutely right. Like, for somebody to read that and say, I can become a champion, and to set that mantra in. So I'm like, I'm super grateful that God did lay that on your heart because of all those little souls that are being heavily impacted. And you have to admit, Mike, that feels a little bit better than another zero in the bank account all day long.
Oh yeah, it definitely ain't for the money. You know, like Tiff and I have a target. Last year and this year, our goal is to donate $100,000 each year. And so, like, it's definitely not for the money in the bank account. No, it's definitely like, hey, we've been blessed. We've been honored to have the ability to impact many, to hoard that and not let it flow out to bring value. Like, it just seems irresponsible, and it seems like it's just like not the right approach or mindset to the money management side. Is like, I don't deserve this money. So let's go do something good with it. Because I don't need it. Like, look, I have nice things. I'm not going to minimize. I have nice cars. I have a nice house. I have a pool. I have a great family. We have the lifestyle we want. But like, I'm not motivated by Lamborghinis and yachts and planes. And like, I'm not against it. I don't think it's stupid. It just make me excited.
Right.
And so the money in the bank account is just a scoreboard that's irrelevant because no one ever actually going to see it. So like, why keep it?
Yeah. I just absolutely love that, Mike. That's super beautiful. You guys always set such high goals, but what's even more important than that is that you always hit them. So there's no doubt in my mind that you will 1,000% donate $100,000 this year. Like, we can just already say that's already done because that's just the way.
Kimba, you have watched me say some crazy ass shit that I'm going to do or have and just follow through on it.
100%.
And it's just like, it almost takes the fun out of it because you're like not surprised. You're like, oh, yeah, there's another target knocked off.
Like, he did say he was going to do that and he did it. So, yep. Well, I just absolutely love that, Mike. So do you have anything else going in the world today, right, with all the different things that we have going on and having such a special mission on your soul to leave this impact in this time, in this place right now, right? Because you know this about me, but I undeniably believe that we chose to come, our souls have chose to come in this day, in this time with purpose. And I'm saying that during a time when shit's kind of weird. You know what I mean? Just a couple different ways in the economy and with business. And we're here. Both of us, Amanda, the three of us are all here. And we're coaching the leaders. We're coaching people that are out there influencing and impacting the everyday people, right? All the people inside of their organizations. Is there anything that you would say to, I know for us, that's a lot to carry on your shoulders right there. Like, you understand that you are coaching the people that have chose to come here in this day and this time to raise the vibration of the planet. They came here to be leaders. They came here to be movers and shakers. They came here to leave this impact. A lot of them are listening right now and they're feeling the same calling that you're feeling. And they're like, why the fuck am I doing this? And it's because God's telling you to, so it's not an option. It's not about the money. It's about what your intuition and your soul calling is putting on you. And there's a lot of people out there that are feeling that right now, man. And you're talking about get out there and do the work anyway. And they're like, oh, Mike, do I have to? Right? And especially when it comes to the things that God's calling us to do, that's not putting zeros in the bank account, because he does. Like I said, I coach a lot more than I invoice for. I know you do. I know Amanda does. And so what would you say to those people, right now that are just really resonating with what we're talking about and are asking themselves, why are they getting up and doing it? Whether in their business, their 501c, whatever that is, but whatever the mission is on your heart, someday when it's not about money, there has to be something to connect it back to. So what would you say to those movers and shakers of today's world?
Well, I'm going to try to get this in the next 4 minutes. So,
yeah,
because it's not just about impact. It's not just about 501. It's not just about money. Like, people struggle showing up as a husband or wife. People struggle showing up as a father or mother. People struggle showing up as a son or a brother. People have a hard time showing up fully as themselves most of the time in most avenues. And I believe it's because we lie to ourselves. And it's not blatant lies. It's not "you suck, asshole." It's partial truths. It's no one cares what I have to say. Someone's already doing that. It's, I'm good, but I'm not great. It's, it's that might not go perfectly. And it's these false truths. It's these partial truths. It's these, I want that, but that but is when you start lying to yourself. Or you others, or you minimizing the impact. You start minimizing your power. You start overemphasizing the negatives and undervaluing the wins. And like those partial truths is what keeps people in the boring ass middle. Like you say just enough to make sure you're not depressed, but you also do just enough to make sure you're never happy. And it's like keeping yourself in the middle because you're lying.
Yeah.
Your gut, anxiety and depression are warning signs that you are outside of integrity with who you know you're supposed to be, or who you're supposed to be around, or what you're supposed to be doing. And the louder it gets, the farther away you are because you ignore it. Or let me fill that with porn. Let me fill that with drugs. Let me fill that with alcohol. Let me fill that with this girl in the DMs. Let me fill that over here with some bullshit that never fits. And you just keep chasing bad, because the internet and the world and marketing is about, preying on your weaknesses. And so you just go down that rabbit hole because it feels the easiest and you think it's going to work, and it's not. The only thing that's going to work is you being 100% dedicated to living your life 100% in alignment with what you feel and believe. And as long as you keep minimizing your wins as if they're not important and overemphasizing your losses just enough to never be happy, you will live in the middle. And one of the best ways I've heard this is like a heartbeat. There's ups and downs on the journey. The minute that you stay in the middle, you flatline and die. Like who you are supposed to be dies fucking. We do this like hire themselves to make themselves protect others or make people feel okay or make themselves look here. It's just a bunch of lies. So my advice to somebody who feels like they're underperforming on their mission is stop pretending. Stop minimizing, stop overemphasizing, just be truthful with yourself on the facts, and then go take aggressive, massive action on it.
Then win fast and win often, baby.
Zero doubt. Let's go.
That's beautiful, Mike, and so true, right? Just live in alignment with your purpose, understanding that God put that on your purpose for a reason, and that when you minimize who you're being called to be, it's not even about you, right? Like that's the biggest thing that God keeps telling me right now is like, Kimba, this really isn't about you. So I need you to stop worrying about that. I need you to stop worrying about the capabilities that you don't think you have, or worrying about, all these different things. Like just follow your intuition. That is me guiding you, and stay in alignment with that path, and everything's going to be great.
And having some fun doing it is the cool part that I hear both of you guys talking about. Because the truth is if you're going to have to live, you guys have heard us say this, if you're going to have to live this life and you know that's your calling and you know that's your purpose and you know that's the direction you're supposed to be going, and you're waking up and you're doing the things that feel good and you're only stepping in those directions, I promise you're going to have fun doing it. So let yourself have that fun, okay? It's safe. You're safe to have that fun. It's just new and different experiences that you are trying out along the way. So it's not familiar. Have fun with that unfamiliar. Make it familiar, right? Make it familiar.
That's one of our core values, sister. Have fun. We're already here. We're doing the things. Let's have fun.
I love it so much. And Kimba, sister, do you know how we can get these guys to, one, not only show Mike some love and support, but two, give this, you guys already know, if you felt something here today and you learned something, which I know you did talking to Mike Claudio today. I did. I was massively impressed with Mike.
Mike's so great. He's truly one of my favorite people.
I would have to agree.
Yeah.
I would have to agree. Mike,
I always have too much fun with Mike.
the 30 minutes we got in with you, Mike, have been absolutely fantastic.
He actually has to keep me in check. He'll be like, Kimba, we do have things to do. And I'm like, but I'm having so much fun.
I can appreciate that. I have so much
Luckily,
fun
he has such great time management skills that he does keep it between the lines for me. So I am grateful. But guys, y'all can you can find Mike honestly anywhere. He is all over the place on the social medias. look up Mike Claudio. You can head over to winrateconsulting.com to find out more about Mike's events. He really has kicked off some pretty cool quarterly events and stuff that he's got going on. Championshoes.org if you want to support all the hours that Mike is currently putting into his nonprofit. I know for sure that we know, love, and trust those people, and that the money 100% goes back to the shoes, which we are super grateful for. So if you are being called today to leave an impact, right? And you want to be able to do something, but maybe you don't want to go through everything that Mike's gone through or do quite as, you don't have maybe that much to give, but you can afford a pair of shoes, right? Head over to championshoes.org and let's show these kids some love. Thank you guys so much. And we would really appreciate it if you would just go ahead and click the share button. Anytime we bring powerful guests on like Mike, we like to make sure that we get that to as many ears as possible so that we can continue to create that impact. And for everybody that hears this message, may just head over to the website and buy another pair of shoes. So don't let the ripple effect end with you. We love you guys so much. And between now and next time, stay CEO AF.
Bye.